Ken Morgan, thanks so very much. From the SNY Sam McKee Memorial Broadcast set here at Meadowlands Racing and Entertainment, it's time to climb in the Sulky, and I'm joined by Andy Miller. Andy, thanks so much for spending a few minutes.
Thanks for having me.
Andy, first and foremost, we have to find out. We all got to the track last Friday, and all we had were driver changes where it said Andy Miller. What happened to your hand?
I had an hour to mess around at home and went riding on a quad. Thought I was 20 years old instead of 50, so ended up flipping it over and busting my hand up a little. But I think it'll only be a couple weeks.
All right. Now, you say it's only going to be a couple of weeks. What do the doctors say?
I go back to the doctor Tuesday and see what he says.
All right. So did you break a couple of bones in the hand? Is that the idea?
Just one, the third metacarpal.
Now, have you been able to jog horses or nothing at all?
I haven't done anything yet.
Okay, so you're not being any help to your wife around the barn.
Just aggravating her.
Okay, just laying around doing a lot of nothing.
Yep.
All right, I tell you what, let's get a little bit into the biographical, Andy. You were an Illinois guy, so you were born and bred in Illinois?
Yeah.
Okay, so you spent your early years out there, and then you started driving at Maywood and Balmoral in the 90s. Was it easy to get drives at that time in your life? Because you were only in your 20s, obviously.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. When I got married to Julie, we moved to Chicago, and it really went well from there. I was driving a lot for my brother Irv and picked up a lot of catch drives, so things went pretty good there.
All right, so you won some driving titles there. Were you driving in that era? Were Tony Morgan and those guys there?
Yeah, Tony Morgan, Dave McGee, a lot of those guys.
Yeah, so definitely it was a pretty strong driver colony at the time, and you were winning an awful lot of races. But you moved to New Jersey in 2006. Why did you move to Jersey?
Because basically in Chicago they kept promising us that racing would get better, and it was all false promises, and so we decided to pick up and move to New Jersey where things were looking pretty good, and brought a few horses and just let it go from there.
How did you find the adjustment in culture from Chicago to New York?
Being a little hometown Arthur, Illinois Amish guy, it was a little tough, but I always adjust pretty good. All
right, now there are many people with the surname Miller in the sport, so I want to give you a little bit of a lightning round here. First and foremost, let's start. Dave Miller, any relation?
No, nope.
All right, no relation to Dave. Brett Miller, any relation?
No relation.
All right, so no Dave, no Brett.
No.
Now, Irv is your brother.
That's my brother.
Your big brother, your little brother?
Big brother.
I know, he's your big brother. So you were together in Chicago, I assume, in the 90s.
Yeah, we did a lot of work together, and I did a lot of the driving for him. So we had a lot of success, won some super night races, and developed some pretty good horses.
Did Irv come around to New Jersey about the same time that you did?
Yeah, he had a few Grand Circuit horses before that, and did a little bit of racing in New Jersey and Canada and around there before I moved, but I did a lot of the driving for him on the Grand Circuit then too.
Now Irv has a son who's an awfully good driver. We're very familiar with your nephew, Marcus Miller. Tell us a little bit about his projection up.
He's doing very well. He didn't get involved in the business till he was a little bit older, because he just went to school and did some of that. But he's done very well. He does a good job driving, and he drives a lot for us when I can't be there.
All right. Now, we've talked about Dave, we've talked about Brett, we've talked about Irv, we've talked about Marcus. What about this guy, TJ? Your son, who is 21 years of age?
Yeah, he's 21, and he's still in school. He just got out for the summer, and he won a race here in the amateurs last year, and then he won one last night at Yonkers. So, he's kind of getting the bug and enjoying it, I think.
All right, so he won last night, and I saw him win here last year. Do you think that he's the kind of kid who's going to want to drive night in, night out like you do?
I think he needs to get some experience and see if that's what he wants to do. He loves it, and he's got a good set of hands, and he's just got to get experienced and see where it takes him.
All right, now let's get to the most important Miller with the surname, and that's Julie, of course, your wife of 24 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And you and Julie certainly have an awful lot of good horses. Here's something I call Andy and Julie's Dandies. Let's start, of course, with the best horse I think you've ever had, Lucky Jim, 17 for 18.
He
one
was
year.
18 for 19.
18 for 19, all right.
And made over $1 million. He was unbelievable. He had little issues here and there, and always got me to the winner's circle. If I screwed up, he fixed it, and he was just a great horse.
I noticed at the end of the year, I think he won the Breeders' Crown as the 1-20 favorite. Talk about respect.
Yeah, he just stood over everybody, and he was just a special horse.
A real lunch pail type of horse, as I like to call him, was Devious Man, who had a super year in the 3-year-old trotting ranks in 2017. In fact, he went off as the favorite in the Hambletonian.
Yeah,
he had a solid season. He didn't win a ton of races, but he made over $1 million.
Yeah, he was very good, and he was always showed up and was always right there. And he had a lot of seconds and thirds, but he won a few of the big ones too, and just real proud of him for what he did.
Now, I was going through some research last night about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I spotted a horse by the name of Happy Dreamer. You won the 2008 Lady Mode with Happy Dreamer. Do you remember her?
Yeah, she was a cool little filly we got from her La Manginos, and you know, she did a lot for us and was really one of our first stake winners out here.
All right, the last 3 Hambletonians, you've hit the board. Sutton, Devious Man, Metz Hall. We'll get to Sutton in a minute. What about Metz Hall? What's he up to?
He's standing stud in New York. He had a lot of issues last year, and we decided to put him to stud and not try to overcome the issues bringing him back. And, you know, I think he got 50 or 60 mares and got a lot of interest in New York. So we're hoping big things for him there.
We talked earlier about Irv Miller, your brother, with the he has a great trotter by the name of Trolley. But you and Julie have another great one by the name of Sutton. What a great rivalry that is.
Yeah. We like competing, and you know, unfortunately Sutton's on the shelf for a couple weeks, but we'll see him back here, and probably it's about the time I get back. So I'm really excited to see him race in the big races and the opens and stuff this year. So I'm pretty excited about him.
Now, I grew up with 2 big brothers. Does your big brother get on you when his horse beats your horse?
No, I get on him.
Oh, you get on him. All right. Let's talk about the here and now. Let's start with tonight. French Cafe is a 3-year-old filly trotter. Is this your best shot at the Hambletonian Oaks?
She's one of our best shots. She raced very good last week. I think we've got 3 shots at it. French Cafe and then Special Honor, who you'll see in a later race, is very good. And then we've got another filly, American Chronos, who's developing real nice.
All right, how about a quick hit on Summit and Sight, who beat Guaranteed, the 1-5 favorite last week?
Yeah, he's very immature and he's got a lot to learn because he hasn't raced much, but he's got high speed and a lot of talent. We just hope he keeps developing.
How about Special Honor? Lastly, you and Julie have this this daughter of Father Patrick, who's in the Steyr Stakes tonight.
I think she's got a good shot. She didn't draw very good, but she's a very nice filly and got a lot of speed. And, you know, if she gets the right trip and gets brought into the race, I think she'll be very good tonight.
60 horses in the barn with a broken hand. Do you still have a lot to do?
Yeah, I try to watch a lot. You know, Julie does a lot of it, and we do a lot together, so we enjoy working together.
Regardless of what the doctor says, what's the under-over on your return to the Sulky?
Maybe next weekend, maybe the following weekend, but it won't be more than 2 weeks, I don't think.
Well, we're going to cross our fingers because we would love to see the Orange Crush in the Sulky. Andy Miller, thanks so much for spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you.
All right, that wraps it up for In the Sulky. Up next, Dave Brower's going to jump in Andy's seat. We're going to talk about this week's Trainer and Driver of the Week and take a look at tonight's featured action.